This is the Camino de Santiago, the northern route. I was hiking on the Camino, this Camino, the other day and ran into two women, spry women. And they were hiking all the way to Compostela. It's about 800 clicks from here. And the route clings to the coast, and the coast is uppy, downy. It's very green and wet, and the route's tricky. We talked about how tricky it was to figure your way through the route, but the chat inevitably turned to the question of temperature. It's been hot, and it's been kicking hikers hard. And these two hikers noted just how tough recovery was, and also the French woman was roughly about 65, and been around a while. She noted that the temperature in the Bay of Biscay near Biarritz, just in town, had hit 29 degrees centigrade in the water. Bathtub-like water in the Atlantic Ocean. Never seen it before. The woman from Australia, a spry early 70s, from Alice Springs, where they know heat, said, you know, it's climate change and we just can't talk about it. So not only can we not talk about this change in climate, temperature and other things, is we can't put all the pieces together. To start with, we've isolated climate change, the change in temperature and the impacts of climate as a single issue. There are at least 4 impacts coming together at the same time. One is climate, the other is loss of water. A recent study came out that says that 21 of 37 of the world's aquifers are collapsing. That's a big deal. We're getting into soil loss of a huge proportion. And then, of course, last year out of Stanford came a study that suggests species extinction is 2,000 times what it normally is. Take all 4 things together and we're in the shit. And what it means is it's not about climate change, it's about us. It's about us becoming extinct. Time frame for this is about 100 years, maybe less. What my beef with science is not the accuracy. They've been spot on the modeling, but they've been very conservative about the impacts. And they have not connected the dots together. The timelines have been too long. They've been too conservative in their estimates about what the impacts are. So we're into a time thing that's really tight. It's happening faster than we ever thought it would. The other thing then is we haven't been able to talk about if we add 2 or 3 of these factors together, like we lose the water and we're losing other species whom we eat or we feed upon, we're going to starve. And that's the deal with climate change, which really is climate disaster. But we can't talk about it. We can't talk about the time rate, we can't talk about the dieback, and we can't put those 4 factors together and say, well, we've got some things to take care of in a very short order. In terms of dieback, what's estimated now in the models is that we'll go from about 8 billion people back to about 1 billion people in the next roughly 100 years. The biggest dieback we've had previously was World War II, when we were killing ourselves at a rate of about 10 million a year. With this scenario, if you go back 7 billion people, in years in the future, we're going to be over 200 to 500 million people per year to get to the extinction point. That's a whole different game than World War II, which impacted a small part of the world greatly. This will impact everybody, and it is already. But we can't talk about it. We can't talk about it. And that's part of the human head game. This is a head game. It's a big one. Click on the K to subscribe, and check out kenkarpoff.com for my blog on a weekly basis, or better yet, sign up and I'll email it to you every week.